Former President Trump has been critical of you for a number of different things on a number of different fronts. But interestingly and specifically about your handling of COVID. Here's what he said in my recent interview.
I told all governors, you do what you want. You can shut it down or not. Florida, by the way, he shut it down tight. No highways, no beaches, no this.
But then pushed back pretty hard. He opened
I know,
up. But is it fair to criticize him on that?
Sure.
He was credited for how
No,
Florida dealt with COVID.
Because he has better PR than other governors, but other governors did a better job than Ron DeSanctimonious.
He used to say the opposite. Let's just be clear. You go back a year or two, he would say what a great job I've done in Florida, how I'm one of the country's great governors, how Florida is such a great state. He always said that for years and years, until about 3 days before the midterm election. Then he started to attack me, and I think it's because he saw that we were going to win a big victory, and I think he viewed me as a political threat. So now he's flip-flopped on all that and is trying to say we did a bad job. I fought his administration to keep our state open, to have kids in school. Fauci, the task force, all those people, they were sending me missives, and the press in Florida made a field day about this. They'd send me missives to my office, July of 2020, close businesses, no schools. Fall of 2020, close businesses, impose a mask mandate. Even January of 2021, right before he left office, his task force was telling us in Florida to close. And so he didn't have control over his own government. He didn't have control over Fauci. Fauci ran that government his last year in office. Trump should have fired him. He did not do that. He elevated Fauci, and he made Fauci an international celebrity. And here's the thing. I fought back against it, and you know all the flack that I got from the media during that, and people fled to Florida because we were free, and I was happy to make that stand. But the reality is Fauci's policies were adopted in a lot of the blue states. Kids were locked out of school for a year. You had businesses shuttered for good, small businesses.
Should the U.S. have locked down at all?
No. It was a catastrophic mistake to do that. Sweden did it right. Italy and Britain did it wrong in the United States. Trump would criticize Sweden at the time. He said they were making a big mistake, that they had all this death. That's not true. Sweden had one of the lowest pandemic death rates of any country. They kept things going. The CARES Act, $2 trillion. Thomas Massie was the only one that stood up against that. Trump said Massie should be ejected from the Republican Party. Massie said, if you do this, you're going to pay people not to work, you're going to screw up the economy, and you're going to cause inflation. That's exactly what happened. So here's the thing. Back at that time, there was a lot of uncertainty. I get it. But knowing what we know now, that was a catastrophic mistake, and we can never let that happen to our country again.
You ever get sick of hearing Ron DeSanctimonious?
Not really. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't think a lot of that stuff really tracks with the voters.
He says it because you weren't loyal to him, and he stood up for you when you needed him in an election, and you wouldn't have won because of it.
So here's the thing. I'm loyal to my family, the Constitution, and the good Lord. Politicians don't deserve fealty. They have to earn support. I fought for him on the Russia collusion. I was one of only a handful of people very early on to publicly go out and defend him, and I did that for years. And yes, he supported me for governor, but then I supported him for re-election. I raised him more money than any elected official. We helped deliver Florida. Remember, his people were saying, oh, if we don't win Florida, it's all the governor. We're relying on the governor. Well, we won it, and so we were there for him. Then, 3 days before my re-election, I've never done anything to the guy. He starts attacking me and does this. And so why would he be doing that? And so I think the whole thing is not the way people view this. You have to earn the nomination. You know, I'm running because I think our country's in decline. We need to reverse it. I think I'm the only candidate running who can win the primary, win the general, and then actually deliver on all these things over a period of 8 years. And so I feel an obligation to run.
You've said you're going to show up in Milwaukee for the debate.
That's right.
August 23rd. And there are a number of people who are qualified. You're among them. So is the former president. He says he hasn't decided whether he's going or not. In fact, he moved today on his Truth Social and said, maybe all of the other candidates should debate, and I'll determine who might be a vice presidential candidate.
You got to earn this nomination. Nobody's entitled to it. You got to go work, and I think the debates are part of that process. I think being on the ground in Iowa, New Hampshire is a big part of that process. And so you'll see me showing up in all these places. We look forward to being able to speak directly to the American people, and I think it'll be a very worthwhile endeavor.